Very good morning, all of you. Is the audio video clear? Can you please confirm? Anyone? Can you please let me know about the audio and video? Am I audible? Yes or no? Alright, so I'm assuming that I'm audible to all of you. Very good morning, everyone. Alright, so as you have seen the thumbnail, before starting the class, I want to inform you this thing that we will be covering up the previous current affairs quickly. By quickly I mean I will be explaining you only that information which will be, required to be explained, which I think is required to be explained, because otherwise these news are there, national news, appointments, obituaries, important days, awards, reports, indices. You just need to remember these facts, right? So to save our time, and then I want to make this current affairs session regular, so that whenever, on which date we are taking the classes, that should be of that day only. So in order to make it regular, we need to clear the previous things very quickly. So this is how our approach is going to be. That's why you have seen the thumbnail. It is from 23rd August to 20th August. We will go through all the news, but I will be taking up only those news for explanation which require an explanation. Others, you just need to go through them and just try to remember the facts. Is it clear, everyone? Right? So that we can come up with daily news analysis. That would be more efficient for you and for me as well. That would be more productive for everyone. All right. So let's begin with the news. The first thing which we have is 24th and 25th August, right? So in ESI Finance and Business News, this thing which we have. First thing, 6 new rules for PPF. So this is for 24th and 23rd. I need to cover the 23rd one. This 24th and 25th. Just give me a second. We need to start with 23rd, right? All right. So sorry for that. We need to start with 23rd one. This is the first news in the news in the ESI Finance and Business section. So cement companies, they plan rupees 1.25 lakh crores capex, right? So capital expenditure here. So according to Crisil rating study, cement companies, they are planning to invest around how much? 1.25 lakh crores as capital expenditure. This sector, is actually growing fast. So this is what you need to remember from here. Clear? No explanation required. Just remember the facts. I have told you the scheme which we are going to follow now. So that, and then when we pick up the daily current affairs, we will be discussing each and every news, and we will trying to have interconnected explanation. We will try to connect it to everything, to static syllabus as well. That would be more productive, right? Now, next thing which you have is Anil Ambani. You must know this thing. Anil Ambani has been banned from security market for 5 years and has been fined with rupees 25 crores by SEBI. So what is the reason? What is the reason for him being banned by the SEBI? So there have been some fraudulent cases. It has been reported that the person and the company, that the management has been involved in some transfer of money to the companies or assets to the companies which were fraudulent. So companies having very low assets, some sums were transferred to them. These kind of fraudulent activities have been reported. So due to some fraudulent activities, this action has been taken, okay, and he has been barred from holding any position as a director of any listed company now. So remember this news, just go through the news, right? Next news which you have is coal ministry. Coal ministry is expected to raise 45,000 crores via auctions. So what you need to remember here is the capital expenditure of coal mining PSUs in financial year 2025 is around 24,500 crores. So remember, capex in coal mining, in cement industry is rising, and one of the things, if you ask me, the rising sectors of the Indian economy, you might have seen the previous reports and surveys. The commercial real estate sector, the cement industry sector, the coal auction mining, all these hold really great prospects for Indian economy. This is what you need to catch from here. Okay, next thing. So just go through all these facts and news, try to remember the facts, no explanation is required for them. Then Union Home Minister Amit Shah receives 19.08 crore dividend from the Repco Bank. So amount of dividend is not so much important, but you should know that this Repco Bank, this is a kind of cooperative bank. It was established, for catering to the needs of the repatriated people from the countries like Sri Lanka and all. So it is a kind of cooperative bank, and this much has been received as dividend from the bank. Then next news which you have is ONDC, regarding ONDC. So your open network for digital commerce, ONDC, it has launched a credit facility. Okay, now this is important and very interesting. Loan disbursal in just 6 minutes. Loan disbursal in just 6 minutes. So this is important. Remember who has launched this credit facility? Your open network for digital commerce, right? So nine buyer applications have been integrated onto this, and 3 lenders are there. Remember this information as well. So this is important. Just remember that it has on this platform for facilitating this credit facility, it has integrated 9 buyer applications. Okay, so also called as lending service providers, and then 3 lenders. So these buyer applications, all these names are very much familiar to you: Easy Pay, Paisa Bazaar, Tata Digital, Invoice Pay, Clinic 360, Zip, Indipe, Direct, Tileplex, and then your Pay Nearby. So all these platforms are there as buyer applications, and the lenders, they include Aditya Birla Finance, then your DMI Finance, and then Karnataka Bank. So remember three lenders, Aditya Birla, then DMI Finance and Karnataka Bank are there, and then you have 9 buyer applications or lending service providers. Basically these are the service providers which you all are very much familiar with. Paisabazaar.com, you see the advertisements everywhere. Then your Easy Pay, Tata Digital and all, right? So remember these names. This is important. Then you have regulatory body news. So first thing which you have is SEBI has proposed allowing self-attestation of documents required for registration of your credit rating agencies and custodians, KRAs, depositories and index providers. So self-attested documents will be there. Okay. Then you have banking news. So these are just information, you just go through these information. Banking news mein first you have is RBI cancels registration of Margdarshak Financial Services. Now this is important. You just need to have to remember that this registration of which entity has been cancelled. So it is Lucknow based, Lucknow headquartered Margdarshak Financial Services Limited. Now what has been the reason? High NPAs. Okay, high NPAs, high net NPAs and defaults on repayment to lenders. So these have been the reasons why the license has been cancelled. So they were warned a number of times, but then non-compliance with the warnings and the regulatory guidelines has resulted into high net NPAs for them, and there have been cases of defaults from the side of the lenders. So this has been the reason. It also, as I told you, has failed to maintain the minimum regulatory net owned funds requirement of 5 crores and minimum capital adequacy ratio of 15% for which is there for NBFC MFI, right? So static is important from here. You should know how much is the minimum capital adequacy requirement and how much is the minimum regulatory net owned fund requirement there. I hope you have read all these things. I have done the NBFC thing with you, chapter with you. So in NBFCs, we have seen the minimum net owned funds and different classifications of the NBFCs. So you must be very familiar with all these concepts, isn't it? Okay. So next news which you have is that RBI has also imposed monetary penalty on Lending Club and Licky Loans for non-compliance with certain provisions of P2P lending platforms. So P2P NBFCs, these are, there have been cases of non-compliance for which RBI has imposed penalties on them. Not very important, just go through the facts once. Then you have certain national and state news. So in national news, you have Prime Minister Narendra Modi set to give out 1.1 million certificates to Lakpati Didis. Now, Lakpati Didi scheme you must have covered, everyone, right? This is important one. You, in the scheme section, you must have covered this scheme. So remember, Prime Minister has announced to distribute certificates to around 1.1, okay, or 11 lakh new Lakpati Didis who are part of the women-led self-help groups. So I hope you all are very much familiar with the Lakpati Didi concept, okay. Now this distribution will take place in the Jalgaon district of Maharashtra, okay, and also the Prime Minister is going to sanction a fund of 5,000, okay. So he will also sanction a rupees 5,000 crore bank loan. So basically it will be in nature of a loan to support the 25.8 lakh members of these much SHGs. You need not remember all these figures. You need not remember any of these figures, right? You just remember that the loan amount sanctioned will be to support the functioning of these SHGs. The loan amount will be 5,000 crores to be sanctioned by the Prime Minister in the same event, right? So if you just go through this scheme or initiative, Lakpati Didi initiative, let's just go through these points. So even if you don't know, it is a part, as you must be knowing, of Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihood Mission, and falls under the aegis of Ministry of Rural Development. Now, who are these Lakpati Didis? These are the women who have achieved an annual income of rupees 1 lakh or more. As the name suggests, easy to remember, right? Women who have received or achieved an annual income of 1 lakh or more. Now, what is the target? Target is basically to empower them more, to increase these number of women, to increase these number of Lakpati Didis to 3 crores within the next 3 years. Just remember this thing about the scheme, okay? Increase it to 3 crores within next 3 years. Easy to remember, 3 crores in 3 years. This is the target. To have such more 3 crores such Lakpati Didis or women having annual income of rupees 1 lakh or more. This is a step towards women empowerment, okay? And then budget 24-25 also has a financial outlay for this scheme of rupees 15,047 crores. You can remember this fact also. I hope this is clear. Next news which we have for 23rd is draft telecommunication tariff order for PM WANI. PM WANI you must be knowing. PM WANI is Wi-Fi access network, right? So the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRAI, it has released a draft telecommunication tariff order on the regulatory framework of the PM WANI scheme. Now, what is the reason for this? Basically to accelerate the PM WANI. PM WANI is very important, PM WANI. So it gives you wireless connectivity, you know, at different public hotspots, basically like your public transport, airports, railway stations. Also, they are covered under the PM WANI. You must be knowing these centers, right? So PM WANI wireless access network is important towards increasing the internet penetration. Internet penetration, right? And it was launched by Department of Telecommunications. So basically to make the high speed internet affordable in public, rural, remote areas. So public areas, these centers where the public is most, and also make it accessible and affordable to the rural people, those who have been unable to access it for so long. Then you have next news in the series, which is DGCA fines Air India. This is a fine imposed by DGCA. If you have any operating flights with non-qualified crew, you will be penalized for that. This is the thing, right? Next news which you have is that government bans certain medicines, okay, including some antibiotics, painkillers, multivitamins, right? So you might be knowing their names. Union Health Ministry has banned almost 156 irrational fixed dose combinations, right? 156, remember this is important. Irrational 156 fixed doses combinations with immediate effect. It includes widely used antibiotics, painkillers. You see, painkillers have been on a target of the health ministry, right? You see, there is a salt, diclofenac or diclofenac, widely used, right? So diclofenac basically is very harmful. So these kind of salts and painkillers, they want to ban immediately because they are being used frequently by the public, also being provided by the chemists, right? And they actually damage your livers and kidneys. So this is the thing. Then next is related to your FSI. FSI has ordered removal of A1 and A2 claims from all your packaging of milk and dairy products. So if you have seen, there are these advertisements, you must have seen the Country Delight and all, right? They provide you that this is A1 milk, A2 milk. So now this will be removed. Why? A1 and A2 classification is basically a protein based classification of the milk, depends on the protein complexes and all. But the thing is, A2 generally, as per the standard norms followed by the classification so far, A2 was considered as more digestible. But there have been cases where patients or consumers basically consuming the A2 tagged milk have been found with indigestion symptoms. So these information have been misleading. They are not very clear about this classification and it is not accurate. That's why to remove such misleading information, they have removed the requirement of these A2 and A1 tag from the packaging of milk and dairy products. This is the news, okay? Then there's this auction news, not important. Then you have state news. So this is important. South Indian Adivasi Knowledge Center is to be launched in BR Hills. Okay, so remember, first Adivasi Library of South India, Kanu. First Adivasi Library of South India. Kanu is a famous personality, right? A famous tribal leader. You must be knowing this person. So on that name, you have this library to be inaugurated at BR Hills in Karnataka. Okay. Okay. So Kanu has been a leader as well, and here it also means evergreen forest in Soliga language. So it will be the first South Indian Adivasi Knowledge Center. So this is for more inclusive development in the tribal areas. So remember, Sidhu and Kanu, these have been leaders as well. And you can also remember, so you can connect it from history, you can connect it from these kind of information, that this Kanu in Soliga language means evergreen forests. Okay, evergreen forests. So remember, Kanu will be library of Adivasi Library of South India will be established in BR Hills, Karnataka. Okay. Then you have international news. In international news, first is that Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Ukraine, okay, via a luxurious Polish train, which is Rail Force 1. So just go through this information. It is run by Ukrainian Railways, and the destination was, of course, the capital, and the total time taken was 10 hours. Just remember this name that associated with Ukraine. Then you have PM again presenting the Bharat Health Initiative for Sahyog Hit and Maitri. What is this thing? Is basically it is an initiative for expeditious treatment of the injured, and it will contribute to saving precious lives, right? So this Bhishma cube, you can call it in abbreviated form, it consists of medicines and equipment for the first line of care. Okay, it will also include certain surgical equipments for basic operation requirements, and will be able to manage around 10 to 15 basic surgeries per day. So these will be released in order to have proper and timely treatment of the injured. So this is expanding India's scope in health infrastructure and providing with the required equipments in the time being, right? So remember, these will be there. So these kits or cubes will be provided, known as PM or Bhishma cube, right? Each Bhishma cube will consist your medicines and equipments. So it will have equipments for surgery as well. It will have medicines as well. Also remember the extension of Bhishma, which is Bharat Health Initiatives for Sahyog Hit and Maitri. Okay, this will be provided to Ukraine. This will be provided to Ukraine. This will be provided to Ukraine, remember. So it is in support or extension of support of India to its neighbors. This is another initiative in that line. Then you have world's second largest diamond found in Botswana. So this is important from resources and minerals point of view. Your world's second largest diamond has been found in Botswana. Remember, okay, it is a rough 2,492 carat stone. It has been unearthed in Botswana at a mine owned by a Canadian firm, okay, Lucara Diamond. You can remember the name of the firm as well. It is second largest diamond in the world. So remember the location basically. Then you have certain mergers and acquisitions. So you can see the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. It has signed MOU with the Public Service Department, Malaysia. Okay, so they have signed an MOU on what? On cooperation in the field of public administration and governance. So basically to enhance public administration and governance and then learn from each other, this MOU has been signed between the government. You can see Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, India, and the Public Services Department, Malaysia. So two countries are involved here, India and Malaysia. Then you have Marine Electricals MOU signing with the Cummins India. So for what this has been signed, Marine Electricals has entered into a MOU with the Cummins India to make pumps basically for Marine Navy ships. So basically it is to manufacture pumps for the Navy requirements, naval ships. This is the thing. Then you have the next MOU in the series is GAIL India Limited signed an agreement with the US biofuel producer Petron Science Tech Inc. to jointly explore basically 500 kilotons per annum ethylene plant in India. So this has been signed between GAIL and a US based biofuel producer Petron Science Tech. Okay, so this is in line with the sustainable development efforts, net zero emissions. You can connect this topic with that. Just go through these information, try to remember them. Then you have science and tech and defense news. So SpaceX has launched a methane tracking satellite, Tanager-1. It will track methane, right? So it can detect major emitters of carbon dioxide and methane. This is important. SpaceX has launched this thing, Tanager-1. Then you have India launching its first reusable hybrid rocket, Rumi-1. This is important. This has been in news for a quite long period of time. This is not something coming abruptly. Rumi-1, okay, Rumi-1. So it is reusable rocket. Its first reusable rocket, hybrid rocket from Chennai, Tamil Nadu. It was developed by Space Zone India and Martin Group, okay. And remember, it was carrying 3 CUBE satellites and 50 PICO satellites. You need not remember all these things. And it was launched into a suborbital trajectory. Now, the purpose of launching this satellite via the Rumi rocket was to gather information on global warming and climate. Just remember reusable rocket's name and who has developed it, right? And which satellites it has carried. So it is reusable, first in such a series launched by India. Then you have another news related to space category. So our ISRO chairman has announced that he has informed that the designs of India's next mission to the moon, which is Chandrayaan-4, they have been finalized and they will most likely happen. This event is going to happen most likely in 2027. Okay, and what this is going to do, it is going to bring rock and soil samples back to the earth from moon. That would be a great step towards exploring the surface and the atmosphere of the moon further. Okay, it is going to be another milestone for India in space exploration. Then you have defense. In defense, you have these news. So 10th edition of Mitra Shakti has been launched. So this is exercise between India and Sri Lankan army, remember. Then if you see in the books, awards and festivals category, so important book is there. Your Department of School Education Literacy in collaboration with NCERT has released an e-magazine, Sapno Ki Udan. Okay, Sapno Ki Udan. So remember who has released this magazine. Then in sports, you can go with these sports, right? You can go to the sports news, you can go through it. There is nothing in sports which I need to explain to you. It's just a matter of fact. You have to remember the facts, right? So go through the sports news and you will be able to remember them. Then you have appointments and all. So first appointment, you have senior IS officer Govind Mohan assuming charge as new Union Home Secretary. Okay, and he has succeeded Ajay Kumar Bhalla. Then another important appointment you have is Deepti Gaur Mukherjee assuming charge as Secretary to Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Then Sanjeev Raina appointed as Additional Director ADG in your ITBP. Then you have an important partnership here. So your cricket icon Rohit Sharma has entered into a partnership with FITTR, which is a fitness platform. Okay, so this is not very important. Then there are certain conferences here. You can go through these things. There have been a conference. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India has formed a task force basically to address the challenge and drive the growth of surety bond insurance, and it comprises representatives from your insurance companies, banks and reinsurers, right? Now what is this surety bond? It is basically a risk transfer mechanism. What do we mean by that? That it is through it that an insurance company provides a guarantee to the beneficiary that the principal or contractor will meet their contractual obligations. I hope you have understood these things. So just go through these information, nothing much important here. Then you have certain obituaries, you can go through the headlines. An important date, 23 August, is celebrated as a day for remembering the slave trade and abolition of 2024. So slave trade abolition 2024, right? International Day for Remembrance of Slave Trade Abolition 2024. Slave trade, has been a black event in the history. Slave trade. It has been one of the dark pages of history. So this day is important when it was abolished. So remember the day, okay? This was your 23rd August news. As I have told you, we are just going to discuss what is important and what is to be discussed. Remaining facts, you just have to go through them and try to remember the facts in the best possible manner which suits you, right? So this was 23rd. Then we have to move forward with the 24th and 25th news analysis. So then you have 24th and 25th August. So in the ESI business section, these news are more important and they require certain understanding. So 6 new rules have been there for PPF, other small saving schemes, which are to come from effect from 1st October 2024. Okay, so remember these things and what all are they related to. So your Department of Economic Affairs, Ministry of Finance has released rules for regularizing irregularly opened accounts under national small saving schemes via post offices. So these small saving schemes, they hold very much significance in channelizing savings from your outskirts of India, right? So mainland India is almost covered by the banks and their branches, but when we talk about the rural areas and the unbanked areas, post offices and their small saving schemes play a very important role, isn't it? Right? So there have been instances of irregular opening of the accounts. Now, to address this irregularities, some rules have been changed or new rules have been formed for these schemes, right, which have to be implemented from 1st October. This is the news. They cater basically to irregularity in account opening, then PPF accounts opened in the name of a minor, okay, then more than one PPF account if you have, extension of PPF account by NRI. So for that you also have rules, they have new rules for that, and also regularization of Sukanya Samriddhi account, which are opened by grandparents other than the guardians. So these rules, they revolve around these points, okay. They will be covering these areas of small saving schemes. The next news which you have is regarding Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency, IREDA. So IREDA has targeted 500 gigawatt of green electricity by 2030. This is the target. You have to remember the target as it is. Then of course you have the unified pension scheme. I am very much sure you all must have read about the UPS. Yes or no? Will anyone let me know? You must have read about the unified pension scheme, isn't it? Right? Before the phase 1 itself. And this has been covered in the marathons and the MCQs also. Right? Anyone there? All right. So UPS, let's still have a glance at it. Okay. UPS, as you know, is a new initiative. So Union Cabinet, which is chaired by Prime Minister, has approved this thing, Unified Pension Scheme. And important features if you see, so how much will be covered under the Unified Pension Scheme? 50% of the average basic pay, which has been drawn over the last 12 months. Okay. So prior to the superannuation for a minimum qualifying service of 25 years, you should have 50, so it will be covering your 50% of the average basic pay which you have drawn past 12 months. Okay, this is first feature. Then this pay is to be proportionate for lesser service period, okay, up to a minimum of 10 years. Then assured family pension, if you see, so 60% of the pension of the employee will be immediately given before his or her demise, right? So 60% is the assurance. Then you have assured minimum pension, which is at the rate 10,000 per month on superannuation after minimum 10 years of service. Then if you see, inflation indexation has been provided, yes, on assured pension, on assured family pension and assured minimum pension. Inflation adjustment has also been provided. So these features, you have to go through them, and implementation of UPS would mean center's contribution to the scheme would go up from 14% in the NPS to 18.5% per month. This data is again important. Remember, center's contribution is going up after the implementation of this. So if you see, in the under the NPS, it has been 14%. Now it is going up to 18.5% per month. Now employees contribution is also going to increase in this thing, okay. Dearness relief will also be provided, as you can see. Now that would be calculated on the basis of All India Consumer Price Index for industrial workers. Remember, dearness relief or allowance in this case, dearness relief will be based on which of the inflation indexes. So it will be based on all India consumer price index for industrial workers, okay, which is also the case with the service employees. So remember these features. The unified pension scheme is important. Then you have Amazon India to set up rest points across countries. Yes, so Amazon India will be setting up rest points for the delivery associates, okay, across cities. This is important. It will help enhance their efficiencies because they have to go building to building, floor to floor, right, to supply the products. It would be a great initiative. Then you have cabinet's approval for Vigyan Dhara. Okay, so Vigyan Dhara is basically a scheme which is aimed to promote research, okay, as well as cooperation. So research and cooperation are the prime areas. Now, 3 umbrella schemes have been merged into this central sector scheme. So remember what have been merged, right? There were 3 umbrella schemes. Now they have been merged into one, which is now known as Vigyan Dhara of Department of Science and Technology. All right. Now they cater to the requirement of research, cooperation, research and development in science and technology, institutional and human capacity building, then also overall R&D, also innovation, technology development and deployment. Also, what is the proposed outlay under this scheme is important, which is 10,579.84 crores during the 15th Finance Commission. Okay. Next thing which you have is regarding trade data. So first thing which you have is that the United States has emerged as India's top trading partner. So remember, these kind of information you see RBI has asked, right? So US has emerged as the top trading partner of India from January to June 24. Okay, and in the trade deficit segment, if you see, so India has recorded highest trade deficit with which country? So it is with China. Remember, highest trade deficit, if they ask you, is with China during this period, according to a think tank, Global Trade Research Initiative. So with China, we have more imports than the exports, right? So highest trade deficit we have is with China, and the largest trading partner is US. Then again you have some regulatory body news. So first is that SEBI has ordered CARE Ratings to pay some settlement money for again some kind of violations. You just go through the figures, need not discuss this news. Then you have this news which is important, that RBI has announced premature redemption dates for 30 sovereign gold bonds. So this is important, that the RBI has officially announced dates for the premature redemption of sovereign gold bonds. I hope you all have read sovereign gold bonds in depth. This is very, very important. So for premature redemption of these bonds, dates have been issued between May 2017 and May 2020. Okay, so the central bank plans to redeem almost 30 tranches of these bonds. What will be the dates during this thing will happen for the bonds issued between May 2017 and 2020? The dates for this phenomena to happen is October 11, 24, and so between October 11, 24 and 7th February 25. So remember, the redemption process of these bonds is going to take place from 11th October 2024, between 11th October 2024 to 7th February 2025, and the bonds issued between May 2017 and May 2020 are to be there, and 30 tranches of such bonds are to be redeemed. So this is the news, this is important. Then what you have is banking news again. So if you see, SBI mutual funds, it gets RBI's approval to acquire 9.99% stake in Karur Vysya Bank. Okay, so just go through the news. It is just news. Need to remember the facts only. And then you have national and state news. So first says that ICC has launched All India Initiative on Creative Economy. So ICC here is Indian Chamber of Commerce. It has launched All India Initiative on Creative Economy. So basically this aims to tap or capitalize upon India's creative industries potential. Okay. And it was inaugurated by Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. So creative economy, they want to boost up with this kind of initiative. It's just this much. Then cabinet approval for Bio E3, very important. Remember this. So Bio E3, you must be knowing the biotechnology for economy, environment and environment policy. So Union Cabinet has given approval to Bio E3 policy to foster basically the high performance biomanufacturing. Okay. Now it aims to have innovation driven support to R&D and entrepreneurship across thematic sectors. So basically we want to have biotechnology driven manufacturing in terms of economy, economic productions, environment and employment. So we want to have more integration of biotechnology based engineering and production for economy, for environment, as well as to boost up the employment also. So this is important, Bio E3, biotechnology for economy, environment and employment. So now we also want to connect employment with the, we want to take advantage of biotechnology for employment as well. Then to boost exports, your Spices Board has launched scheme, right? So Spices Board under Ministry of Commerce and Industry has launched a scheme called Sustainability in Spice Sector through Progressive Innovation and Collaborative Interventions for Export Development. So this is basically to further boost the exports, right? Sustainability in spice sector through progressive, innovative and collaborative interventions for export development. So Spice Board has launched this scheme, remember. Then in the state news category, you have Gujarat Pollution Control Board installing cloth bag vending machines, like similar to the ATMs. Now this is a good initiative. You can write this in your answers as well. You can write such examples, right? In sustainable development related questions, you can quote these examples because these are the real life examples. So rather than talking about the hypothetical solutions, give reference to these kind of examples. So Gujarat Pollution Control Board, GPCB, has installed vending machines. Vending machines for what? Cloth vending, right? At all the prominent temples across the state. Now it will be reusable, so it will reduce the plastic pollution up to a great extent. This is a really very innovative idea, okay? Because you see, generally temples, you buy some puja essentials from the shops nearby temples. We buy certain flowers and all, prasad and all, right? And for that we generally carry a plastic bag. So these kind of places like temples, religious centers, I also think apart from these temples, we need to install such machines near parks and all, right? So public entertainment places, recreational places, the cinema, near cinema, not cinema so much, but at least where these fairs and all they are organized, hearts where they are organized, the recreational places like parks or any other such place needs to have such cloth vending machine, right? So this is actually the solution you need. You cannot expect people to carry a jute bag everywhere, right? It is difficult. Also, not everyone has such facility. So you can have such machines deployed over there. This is a good initiative. Remember this. Then you have Odisha government launching Subhadra scheme. So remember, Subhadra scheme belongs to Odisha government. What is the aim? So it covers 1 crore women in Odisha and targets them to provide with the rupees 10,000 annually in 2 installments. Okay. So It will be given on Rakhi Purnima Day and then the International Women's Day, 8 March. Okay. So on 8 March, they will be providing the second installment, and the women between the age of 21 to 60 years are targeted. So this is again in line with women empowerment. And next news is there. If you see Mithun, so Mithun is a state animal of Arunachal Pradesh and Nagaland. Okay. Now this is a very important species. Mithun has officially been recorded for first time in Assam. So Assam has recorded Mithun, the scientific name you see is Bos frontalis, for the first time. Okay. And so this is an important animal. Mithun is the state animal of Arunachal and Nagaland as well. Okay. Now, why the animal is reared? So primarily for its meat in the northeastern states. Remember this name, this is important, and the state in which it has been spotted, right? Then you have international news segment again. So first thing which you have here is that Google introduces Essentials app for Microsoft Windows PCs. So Google has introduced a new application called Google Essentials. Now what is this designed for? It is designed as one-stop hub. So one-stop solution for accessing various Google services, like so you have Google Photos, Messages and more. So one-stop solution. So Google is also working on the in the lines with the aim of the central government. You see, central government continuously wants to align all these policies and then have one market, one nation, one card, one tax, all these things. So Google also wants to have one platform at which you can all avail all these services. So remember, this has been launched by Google. Then you have mergers and acquisition. I hope you can go through them. This is not to be discussed, right? You can go through them, whatever mergers have been there. So first is USA. USA has approved a possible sale of anti-submarine warfare. Okay. Then you have Tata Power Solar Systems to collaborate with the ICICI Bank to provide loans to finance the purchase of solar panels. So this is also important. Just go through it. Loan can be provided up to 90 lakh, okay, extending 5 years. They can also avail higher amounts, but with collaterals, and then tenures of 20 years. So for higher amount, you have to keep collaterals, but generally it is for 5 years up to 90 lakh. Now this would promote sustainable energy, solar power based energy. Then you have certain indices and rankings and report. So Mumbai ranks second, New Delhi third in global property price index, remember. Okay. So this is regarding the annual price rise of prime residential properties. So you see price rise in residential properties, no one can beat Mumbai, isn't it? No one can beat Mumbai. If you have your own house in Mumbai, that is a great achievement, isn't it? In a so-so location even, not the prime location. So Mumbai ranks second, New Delhi ranks third. In these rankings, if you see all these cities, so first is Manila, second is Mumbai, third is New Delhi, fourth is Los Angeles, and fifth is Miami. Okay, so remember all these cities. First is Manila, second Mumbai, third Delhi, Los Angeles and Miami. Then you have certain books and awards. So this book, The Scientist Entrepreneur, Empowering Millions of Women, has been there in the news, which is an autobiography written by activist Kalpana Sankar. Remember, okay? Then sports you can go through, as I told you. A sportsman, there is nothing to be explained. You just have to remember the names of the teams, the players, the categories, if they have won, all these things, right? Then you have important appointments. So Nestle appointed a new CEO, okay? So Latin American boss, Laurent has been the new CEO. Then you have obituaries, important days. So yes, former player and ex-Federer coach Peter has been there in the obituary news, right? He has passed away at the age of 59, okay? So he has coached Roger Federer. You see this person, Roger Federer. Very important sports personality. To which game Roger Federer belongs to? Anyone? Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer. You must have heard all these names, right? Anyone will let me know? Okay, so I gave you the hint. Rafael Nadal, Federer, they belong to tennis, right? So this was your 24th and 25th. Just go through the sports news, okay? Just try to remember these things. We need not discuss anything in this section. Moving ahead with the next set of news. So we have covered 23rd, 24th, 25th. Now we have to cover 26, 27. So let's go ahead. So this is 26 and 27 August news, right? So first you have ESI business news. Just give me a second, okay? All right. So let's discuss the news. First is again small saving schemes. They grow by 38.8%, okay, led by Sukanya Samriddhi. So small saving schemes are actually gaining momentum. Just read their features. So remember that the growth in the small savings scheme is led by Sukanya Samriddhi and senior citizens scheme. You have to remember this thing, that the growth is led by which of these two schemes. So it is the overall growth is led by Sukanya Samriddhi and the senior citizens scheme. They are really gaining momentum. Then GST taxpayers without any valid bank accounts, they are to be barred from filing any GSTR1 form from September 1. So this is very important news. All the GST taxpayers who do not have or they have not furnished any bank account details to the authorities, they will be stopped from filing any outward supplier return, which is GSTR1 form, okay, from September 1. So they have to have a valid bank account, okay. So as per GST rule 10A, a taxpayer is required to furnish such details of account within how many days? So remember, within a period of 30 days from the date of grant of registration. So you have to provide at least within 30 days such information, okay. The next thing which you have, Education Minister defines literacy and full literacy. Now this is something which we need to discuss, literacy and full literacy. So remember the difference. This has been clearly identified and elaborated by the Education Ministry. So literacy, as you know, is ability to read, write, okay, and compute with comprehension. That is to identify, understand, interpret, and create, along with critical life skills such as digital and financial literacy. So this is basic definition of literacy given recently. Then what is full literacy? So what is full literacy? Full literacy means achieving 95% literacy in a state or UT. So remember these concepts. We will say that a state or a UT is fully literate. That does not mean that 100% of the population has literacy, has met the literacy requirements. No. Full literacy means 95% literacy in any state or a UT. That would mean 95% of the literacy. So remember this thing, all right. This has been given recently by the Education Ministry. So then you have AIPL launching BSE Sensex Next 30 Index. So your Asia Investment Private Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange, it has launched BSE Sensex next 30 index. Okay, so remember who has launched this new index? BSE and BSE Sensex next 30 index in Mumbai. Now, what will this index do? It will track the performance of the largest companies from the BSE 100 and that are not part of the BSE Sensex, and it will comprise 30 companies from 9 sectors. So, as the name suggests 30, it will have your 30 companies. Yes, so it will have 30 companies. 30 companies. Now it is going to cover and track the performance of largest companies from BSE top 100 and also those who are not part of the BSE Sensex. It is going to track their performance, right? Now these companies will be encompassing such sectors like financial services, consumer, discretionary, energy, commodities, healthcare, industries, FMCG will also be there, IT and utilities, right? So these companies will be encompassing all these sectors. So remember this is important. Okay, now next thing which we have is in the regulatory news, RBI is set to launch unified lending interface. This is again important. Anything launched by RBI is of very much significance for you. So remember ULI by RBI. ULI by RBI. So what is this ULI aimed at? Unified lending interface basically wants to streamline lending processes. Okay, so if you see, Honorable Governor Shaktikant Das has addressed global conference on digital public infrastructure and which was held in Bengaluru. Okay, now in this event he has informed that RBI is going to launch this thing, unified lending interface, which is a tech platform. Now what is this ULI? So it is basically an interface which aims to create a seamless, as I told you, seamless credit environment. So it wants to open a common architecture, open architecture, and streamline all these credit facilities, right? This is the aim. They will consolidate the data from various sources like Aadhaar, government records, PAN, and account aggregators. And a pilot phase will be launched first. Okay. And during this pilot phase, the platform will focus on products like Kisan credit cards, dairy loans, MSME loans, right? And then RBI expects that it will transform. It will be a transformative step like what transformation has been brought by JAM and UPI. So remember this thing, this is important. RBI has created a new trinity. So the governor has said this will be a new trinity. New trinity. If you know, the most famous trinity in terms of digital public infrastructure and financial inclusion has been JAM trinity, right? Jandhan, Aadhaar and mobile, which has actually revolutionized the digital infrastructure and the financial inclusion progress of India, right? Apart from them, so governor has clearly mentioned, you have to mention this in your answers, right? So new trinity is JAM. It is a trinity coordination between JAM already existing, UPI, and then what is to be brought is ULI. Remember this new trinity, okay? It will be a new trinity between JAM, UPI and ULI. I hope you have understood. So it is to streamline the credit facilities and programs, and first phase in the pilot phase, you see Kisan credit cards, dairy loans will be covered. MSMEs, personal loans, home loans will also be covered on this platform. I hope this is clear to all of you. Now moving ahead with next news. In the banking news, you have Bank of Baroda raising 5,000 crores through a 10-year infrastructure bond. Okay, and not very important. You can just go through this news. Then you have Tata AIA Life Insurance. It has unveiled its latest insurance product, which is Sampoorn Raksha Promise. So this is important. Sampoorn Raksha Promise. Now, what are the features? So it will give you immediate payout of 3 lakh upon death or death claim. Okay, then policyholders can defer their premium payments as well for up to 12 months, once in every 5 years. Remember, so here you have a deferment of the premiums clause as well. So the policy holders can defer their premium payments for up to 12 months, but not every year, once in a 5 years. Not every year, but once in a 5 year. Okay. Similar to life promises, but it includes a refund of 100% of the total premium paid if the policy holder survives to maturity. Remember this thing, 100% of the total premium will be paid if the policy holder survives to the maturity. So this is important. Then you have national and state news, of course. So single E-strain oral cholera vaccine launched in Hyderabad. Just remember the features of this thing. So your Bharat Biotech has launched a single strain oral cholera vaccine in Hyderabad. Okay, name is Hilcol. So the name is Hilcol. You can see the name, and it has been developed under the license from Hillman Laboratories and is funded by USA, UK, and then it aims to combat cholera globally, of course. So remember, Bharat Biotech has launched this and the name is Hilcol. Now why Hill? Because Hillman Laboratories has given the license and call is for cholera. So you can remember the name Hilcol. Okay, Hilcol. This is to combat cholera globally. I think we have already provided you on the IFSCA, isn't it? Anybody? We already have our content and courses for IFSCA. Or if there is anything new to be there, I will update you in the next class. Okay, so I will update you regarding this in the next class. Okay, after discussing everything with the team. So I'll brief you about the exact details. Let me confirm first. Okay, Harsh. So next news which you have is India develops indigenous RT-PCR testing kit for Mpox. So you know it is gaining, it is creating actually a meanness. So Mpox nowadays is creating actually meanness, okay, globally. So India has developed its own indigenous RT-PCR testing kit for Mpox. Remember this thing? And who has approved this thing? Of course, Central Drugs Standard Control Organization has approved this kit. Okay, and it will give you result in 40 minutes. 40 minutes, which is very faster than any traditional methods. Which is very faster than any traditional methods. Okay. They generally take 1 to 2 hours, but it will give you result within 40 minutes. Then you have Ministry of Textiles approving startups with a grant of approximately 50 lakh rupees each. Okay, so there was a meeting chaired under National Technical Textiles Mission, and the committee has also approved a grant of approximately 20 crore rupees to 5 education institutes to introduce courses in technical textiles as well. You know, technical textiles is something which is also the norm of the future. Can anyone let me know what do you mean by technical textiles? Anyone, please? What are technical textiles? Anyone? Anyone? Yes, these are of course relevant. Every news. So I have also informed you that the current affairs being covered are targeted for each and every examination. Okay. This is not specifically for one examination, they are there for every examination which is to come. What you can do is, as I told you, you can just filter out some of the important news according to the need of the paper. Okay. They are comprehensively made for every examination. They cater to the requirement of all of these examinations. That's why we have sports and appointments and obituaries, all these kind of news as well. All right. So what are technical textiles, anyone? Quickly, tell me. Technical textiles are basically, so these textiles are aimed for use in industries in technical purposes, right? Those textiles for the production, manufacturing of which proper training and techniques are provided. Okay, so you have given a really diplomatic answer. We cannot deny that. But actually the nature of these textiles is they are not used for decorative purposes, right? They are used in industries like fire prone textiles, all these things. They are meant for industrial use. So this is the thing. So it is a sector gaining momentum nowadays. You should know everything related to it. So some of the startups, 4 startups have been approved so far. Now there is this scheme mentioned here, great scheme, which is very, very important. I want you to remember this scheme. What is this great scheme? So great, first of all, refers to grant for research and entrepreneurship across aspiring innovators in technical textiles. This scheme basically aims to empower more entrepreneurs in technical textile sector and to promote research, development and innovation, right? To provide grant and aid up to 50 lakh rupees for a period of 18 months for such innovations in the technical textile. So grant and aid of how much? How much rupees? INR 50 lakhs will be provided for a period of 18 months. Then the next news which you have is that the center has issued certain guidelines for public grievance redressal. This is not important, okay? Not important from the point of view explanation. You have to go through the news, just read the lines. You can just read about it. No explanation is required. Then you have government notifying 160 tons of gold import from UAE at concessional rate. Again, this is a information based news. So remember, Government of India has notified import of up to 160 tons of gold by manufacturers and traders from UAE at a concessional rate. Now, why concessional rate? Why they are providing us something on a concessional rate? Because there is a free trade agreement. So here comes the concept of FTA. I hope you all have been there in my editorial classes. So we have discussed FTA editorials, I think more than 3-4 times, right? So by now you know what is a free trade agreement. So that's why it has been provided at a concessional tariff. 1% tariff concession is there. Remember, so this FTA is there with UAE. Then you have Finance Ministry imposing anti-dumping duty on chlorinated polyvinyl chloride. Okay, so PVC imports, particularly chlorinated PVC imports from China and South Korea, are to attract anti-dumping duty for 5 years. Okay. Now, if you see, PVC, polyvinyl chloride, has a variety of uses, right? Variety of uses. Now, this is also non-biodegradable. It is one of the important contributors in plastic pollution. Then next thing, why do you have anti-dumping duty introduced on this? So what is anti-dumping duty? What is an anti-dumping duty? So for that you need to understand the concept of dumping. I have explained this thing to all of you in editorials and many classes, but let's discuss them again. So these concepts are important. Dumping happens when you know an exporting country like China is exporting something to India. Okay, for example, you have China exporting PVC to India. Now what China does is, China is always been there in the news for dumping activities. So China does what? The market price market price of PVC which is there in the domestic market of China exports PVC to your country at a lower price. Lower than what? Lower than the price in its home country or domestic market. So exports the product at a lower price in your market or the importing country's market, which is lower than the exporting country's domestic market. This is what is known as dumping. Now, why do we want to impose a duty on this? This captures your market. This destroys fair competition in the market, right? Because the competitive rate is not there. So you are being provided with a cheaper material. It is going to flood in your market, is going to give competition to your domestic producers, which are not able to create this material at this much cost and lower price. They will be wiped out. Now, to protect the interest of the domestic producers and suppliers, such duty is imposed to make it with par with the market price, so that it does not distort your market competition. This is the condition, or this is the use of anti-dumping duty. I hope this is clear, right? So remember, PVC now attracts an anti-dumping duty, PVC from China. Then you have Finance Minister opening a new GST Bhavan in Udaipur. This is important fact, can be important for your one-liner kind of questions and examinations, upcoming examinations, right? So new GST Bhavan has been inaugurated in Udaipur, Rajasthan, okay, Udaipur. Then you have state news. You can go with these news, very, very important. So Home Minister Amit Shah has announced creation of 5 new districts in Ladakh. Name of these districts are very, very important. So these districts are Janskar, Dras, Sham, Nubra and Shangtang. So these are the districts, 5 districts, okay. Existing 2 districts are there, Leh and Kargil. 5 are to be created. You all know that Ladakh has been made a UT after the erstwhile Jammu Kashmir was bifurcated, okay. So then Maharashtra becomes first state to implement unified pension scheme. This is again important. We have seen important features of unified pension scheme. We have seen the center's contribution rising to 18.5%. Under this, employees' contribution also rising. Then we have seen 50% of the basic pay past 12 months will be covered, all these features, right? So which state has become the first one to adopt this is Maharashtra. Remember this thing, okay? Maharashtra has become the first state to adopt this scheme. Then you have news from Chhattisgarh. It is the government of the Chhattisgarh is set to use AI for improving school education, right? So the department wants to set up Vidya Samiksha Kendra in the capital Raipur to implement the AI system. So they want the use of AI. Now this is really a good innovation. You can get ideas from such innovative steps and then you can suggest in your solutions in the answers, right? So AI is used to monitor students' performance. You can manage sanitation, then toilet hygiene, also manpower status. So to have a check on all these things, they are going in tune with the market, which is AI led. So AI is to be there in Chhattisgarh. Then you have international news. WHO has launched 6-month global plan. Global plan for what? To combat Mpox. Okay. So Mpox outbreak is a cause of concern. You know, monkeypox is a cause of concern. It is a menace. So remember, WHO has launched a 6 months campaign for that. It is going to start from September 2024 and end February 2025. So remember, 6 months campaign is there, September se leke February 2025, and funding of around $135 million is provided under this. Now also this fact is important for your upcoming examinations. Objective types, WHO has declared Mpox a public health emergency. Okay. public health emergency of international concern on which date? So on 14th August 2024. You have to remember this date because Mpox has been declared a public emergency by WHO on 14th August 2024. Remember the date. Remember the date, right? And remember the 6 months plan. Then there's a typhoon in news. So they can ask you the name, right? Name of the typhoon. So Japan, in Japan it is there. Japan is already on a high alert because of typhoon. You see, Shanshan is the name. Okay, it is nearing the Japan island and it could make landfall in western Japan most likely. Then if you see, landfall basically means when is it going to strike the mainland of the island, right? So, or the coastal regions of the island. This phenomena is expected at the western Japan. Then if you see, India is set to host International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics in 2025. This is again very important. India will be hosting 18th International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics in 2025. Okay, this is announced by Homi Bhabha Center, and in 2024 Indian team has won 1 gold and 4 silver medals in the 17th Olympiad, okay, which was held in Brazil. So remember this information as well. The 17th one was held in Brazil and the 18th one is to be held in India. India has won a gold and 4 silver in this. Okay. So static part is also important. You can read these points about International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics. It is one of the 12 international science Olympiads and it was founded by 5 countries: Thailand, Indonesia, Iran, China and Poland. And first edition of this Olympiad took place in Thailand, 2007. First edition. Then you have some MOUs, mergers and acquisitions. So you see, BHEL bags 11,000 crores Adani power project. So this is there. Just go through these. Okay, these are just facts. Then also, these are just facts, but not mere facts. Okay, they are important. They are very, very important news. Just remember who has signed the MOU with whom, what all have been the mergers. They are important. It's just that we note, we do not require an explanation on this thing. That's what I mean to say. Okay, I hope you understand the importance of these from the questions being asked in RBI examinations as well. So BHEL, we have discussed. Then you have Jawaharlal Nehru Port Authority. It has announced to finance 45,000 crore for country's largest container port, okay, which is to be developed nearby Vadhavan port. Then, so basically, this has been signed with REC, okay, and your JN port. Then you have UCAL, impact with the Blair Motors for developing motor controllers. So UCAL Limited has signed an MOU with Blair Motors Private Limited for collaborative product designing and development for motor controller. Okay, remember this thing as well, and the range is 500 watts to 2 kilowatt. Then you have Science Tech and Defense News. So in this you have Institute of Advanced Studies in Science and Technology. Scientists from this institute, they have developed a new smart sensor for adjusting drug dosage to manage Parkinson's disease. Now you see, Parkinson's disease is one of the genetic disorders as well, right? Parkinson's. Now what happens in the Parkinson's, you have, this is a kind of mental disorder, brain disorder basically. So this is a kind of brain disorder, okay, Parkinson's. Now this new sensor has been developed, this is important, to manage dosage of drug given for the disease. Okay. Then you have our Chandrayaan 3's Pragyan rover finding some evidence of magma on the lunar surface. So this is again an important information, just a fact, go through it. Then ISRO finalizes the design of a skull for the humanoid on Gaganyaan mission. You see, Gaganyaan mission is to be launched, right? So for the humanoid on that Gaganyaan mission, the design of that skull has been finalized. So that would be sent, you know. This is, then you have defense news. In defense news, you have INS Mumbai. So Indian naval ship Mumbai. Mumbai is the naval ship, okay, not the city here. So Indian naval ship visited Sri Lanka, and remember this thing. Then you have North Korea leader Kim Jong unveiling new suicide drones. So North Korea has unveiled new suicide drone. Okay, they basically carry explosive. These are unmanned drones carrying explosives. Then you have certain indices and rankings. So if you see global real estate transparency index, in the real estate transparency, according to the global property consultant JLS global real estate transparency index, India has climbed to 31st position. Now this is important. India's position is also important and other countries are also important. So India's position in this, what is the transparency in real estate, is 31st position, right? Total featured countries were 98, and who are the top 5 nations? This is very, very important. They maintain high transparency in terms of real estate market. These are UK. So first is UK. Okay, top 5 nations: UK, then you have France, then you have United States, then you have Australia, and then Canada, and of course Netherlands. So you see, Netherlands, other Scandinavian countries have also been performing well, right? So these are the top 5 countries. Remember them: UK, France, US, Australia, Canada, and Netherlands. India is ranked 31st. India is under transparent zone. They are under high transparency zone. So if you talk about the zone, India is under transparent zone, not high transparency, not low transparency, but a moderate level. Then you have certain reports here, okay, and according to a report which has been released, co-branded credit cards, they are growing at a CAGR of 35-40%. So co-branded credit cards are gaining momentum according to this report. Okay, I hope you understand co-branded credit cards. And popular co-branded credit cards, if you see, are Flipkart, Axis Bank, Amazon, and so they are co-branded by more than one entity, right? So this is the thing for payment banks as well. If you see, the payment banks, they are not allowed to issue their own credit cards, right? But that can be co-branded one. That can be co-branded one. So if you see the feature of payment banks, that is one of the features. So the most famous are Flipkart, Axis Bank, Amazon, ICICI, Swiggy, and HDFC. These are one of the most prominent co-branded cards, and they are gaining momentum with a compounded annual growth rate of 35-40% range. Then you have important awards in books. So 24th International Mother Teresa Awards have been given. You can go through these awards, right? These are just facts. You need to remember these facts. There's nothing like discussing here. Then sports, again, you can go through that, and appointments have been there. Just go through the appointments. And conferences, yes. So conference is important. Appointments, obituaries, books, reports are just facts. You have to remember them. Okay, we need not discuss anything. India Singapore ministerial roundtable conference has been there, right? So it is second India Singapore ministerial roundtable conference held in Singapore. Now 6 pillars have been identified to be discussed or to be they want to work upon. Digitalization. So remember 6 pillars out of it. Remember all these 6 pillars. digitalization, skill development, sustainability, healthcare and medicine, advanced manufacturing and connectivity have been identified as the 6 cooperative areas. Also remember, Singapore is India's 6th largest trading partner, okay, and 2nd largest source of FDI. Can you tell me the first largest source of FDI? So Singapore is the 2nd largest source of FDI, 6th largest partner. Tell me the first largest source of FDI in India. Anyone? So in the obituaries, you can go through the news, right? It's just fact. And then important days may you see 25 to 29 August, World Water Week basically observed from 25 to 29 August, and it is organized annually by Stockholm International. Then you have theme for this in 2024 is bridging borders, water for a peaceful and sustainable future. USA? Is USA there or Mauritius is there? Okay, just confirm this thing. First largest FDI source for India. I think this position has now been begged. So earlier Singapore was there, now it is Mauritius. So let's confirm it, okay. Then persons in news may you have India's first civilian space tourist, okay, Captain Gopichand. Captain Gopichand is there. So recently traveled to space as a part of crew of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos' company Blue Origin. Okay, so Blue Origin's new Shepherd 25 mission की वजह से this person was in news. So remember the person, Captain Gopichand. And if you see the history, in the history he has become the 2nd Indian citizen to travel to space. First of course is Rakesh Sharma. You all know him, right? So 2nd is now Captain Gopichand. This is your news from 25th, 26th it was, right? All right. Now 26 to 27, then we have to discuss 28th, right? So 28th May, first is center wants to expand agricultural infrastructure fund, and for that the center has given nod. Okay, so expansion of central sector scheme of agriculture infrastructure fund. Now if you see the AIF, agriculture infrastructure fund, it has a corpus of 1 lakh crores. Remember, 1 lakh crores. Now it covers your farmers organizations, then SHGs, PSCs, then agri entrepreneurs, all these. Then aim is to provide all-round financial support, of course, and it is operational from 2021 and will be operational up to 32-33. Okay, and loan disbursement under the scheme is to be completed in 6 years. So remember this thing, they want to expand it further. So FPOs, farmer producer organizations and all, SHGs, PSEs, they all are covered up here. Then next news which you have is India First. India First Life becomes first Indian life insurer to commence operations in the GIFT city. This is important. Okay, so just remember, India First Life has become first Indian life insurer. It says Mauritius for 2023, but Singapore 24. It keeps shuffling. Yes, actually the data is quite confusing, right? So they keep on shuffling. But since recently we have Singapore at the 2nd, so let's consider Mauritius at the 1st, right? Now, remember, so this will be the first one operating in the gift city. Then you have regulatory body news. In regulatory bodies, you have SEBI, which is proposing mandatory UPI block mechanism. Now, this is important. So, SEBI has proposed mandatory UPI block mechanism facility for secondary market. Now, there is a similar kind of facility which is already there, application supported by blocked amount in the primary market, but you didn't had this thing for the secondary market. Now, it will be mandatory for the qualified stockbrokers. It will be mandatory for the qualified stockbrokers. Now, who are these qualified stockbrokers? They are the stockbrokers having prominent market say or influence on the market, right? So, for them it is mandatory to offer a facility for trading in the secondary market using UPI block mechanism. Now, under this, and under the ASBA which was there, what happens is you can block the amount before paying that outright to the stockbroker, right? So it basically helps you in better management of the funds. So this is the news, UPI block mechanism. Now it will be mandatory for secondary market trading as well for qualified stockbrokers. I hope you have understood, right? This thing. So this ASB is there in the primary market. Remember, ASB is already there in the primary market, but then in secondary market this is mandatory, and I have explained you what is this and what will be the aim. Okay, so the aim is basically to block funds and then manage these funds properly. Then you have RBI approval. Okay, so FACE is Fintech Association for Consumer Empowerment, has got an approval to work as a self-regulatory organization in fintech sector by RBI. Now, what is an SRO, or what is the work of SRO, self-regulatory organization? So basically they set rules and standards, okay, related to the conduct of entities in the industry. So for that you need an approval, and there are certain general requirements. You can go through these requirements. What are the requirements to be to get this permission? That you have to be a Section 8 company, which means you have to be a not-for-profit company, okay? And then shareholding should be sufficiently diversified, and no entity should hold 10% or more of its paid up share, okay, share capital. Then applicant should have a minimum net worth of rupees 2 crores. Right? So these are certain requirements, you should remember these. Then you have certain banking news. In banking news, this is just a fact that PM Jan Dhan Yojana completes a decade. Okay, so this is an achievement of PM Jan Dhan Yojana. You can read about PM Jan Dhan because you already must have read about this scheme. It has been successful in financial inclusion. Then there is a plan to open 3 crore more such accounts, okay, this fiscal, announced by the finance minister. Then you have UPI circle delegate payments. This is again important. UPI circle delegate payments launched. So RBI governor only has launched UPI circle. What is this UPI circle? UPI circle is there wherein all your UPI users, they can delegate their payments to their trusted secondary users. So basically what happens is, with one bank account, your say relatives, say your dependents can use that one bank account. Now in this thing, so UPI circle mein earlier what happened, in one UPI, if you have one bank account you only can operate it, right? But now try to understand. So say this person has the original bank account, so this is the primary one, primary user, right? Primary user. Now this primary user has say 3 relatives, okay? Now these relatives can also use this, but that would depend. If it is full delegation, they do not require permission. If it is partial delegation, they require a permission. And then this primary user can also set a limit of transaction on that, I hope you have understood this thing, UPI circle, everyone. Yes or no? Right? So this is UPI circle, and as I told you, full-fledged mein you don't require permission, and then in partial you require permission from the primary user as well. So a primary user to which the account belongs can delegate up to 5 secondary users. So not all of them, right? Up to 5 only secondary users. These relatives or trusted individuals will be called as secondary users. And full delegation if there, then it allows a maximum monthly limit of INR 15,000 per delegation. As I told you, limit can also be set, and a maximum per transaction limit of 5,000. Now this is developed by NPCI. Remember, this is very, very important. I hope this is clear to all of you. Next thing which you have, so RBI governor has also launched Bharat Bill Pay system for businesses, right? So for B2B transactions it will be used. Then you have ESAF, Small Finance Bank, launching Inori Rupee Platinum Credit Card. This is a credit card issued. Inori is basically a Japanese word meaning wish, right? So remember this thing. Then this news is not important. You can go through all these fact-based news, right? In national, you have Ministry of Road Transport launching vehicle scrapping policies. Of course, it has been there to control pollution. You can go through this thing, okay? So commercial vehicles, they have a proper plan to scrap such vehicles, okay? You just go through all these features, just read them. Then this is important, government has approved 12 new industrial smart cities, okay? 12 new industrial smart cities. So if you see, the project spans across 10 states and it is along 6 major corridors. If you see the major corridors and projects, they are Khurpia in Uttarakhand, then Rajpura Patiala in Punjab, then Dighi in Maharashtra, Palakkad in Kerala, Agra and Prayagraj in UP, Gaya in Bihar, Zahirabad in Telangana, then Orvakal and Koparthi in Andhra Pradesh. If you remember, we have discussed all these industrial zones and nodes in the budget as well, right? And then Jodhpur Pali in Rajasthan. Then there are certain e-auctions of 7:30 almost, private FM channels. You can go through this fact news. Then cabinet has approved 4,136 crore for hydroelectric projects in northeast India. This is important, okay, with a cumulative capacity of 15,000 megawatt will be there. Then this is important, solar tricycles have been launched. So Union Minister Nitin Gadkari has launched this solar tricycles for the disabled people in the so the Union Minister has launched this, okay. These will be solar powered tricycles and they are designed and manufactured by Visakhapatnam based MedTech zone, okay. So remember who has designed them and manufactured them. So it is a Visakhapatnam based MedTech zone. Now this is to empower individuals with disabilities, okay. In the state news, you have Rajasthan government increasing the employees gratuity and family pension. Just go through these facts. Then there's a fine on Punjab government by National Green Tribunal for waste disposal. You just go through this. Then there have been MOUs and mergers. So you can go through all these MOUs and mergers. Okay, there's nothing to discuss about that. Then science and tech mein, India's first space-borne precision receiver commences operations. You need to remember, and this is important. So this is basically a technique. This is basically a technique to capture data on soil moisture, surface inundation, and social surface wind and wave measurements, right? And this is known as GNSS reflectometry. Remember this thing. Okay. So if you see GNSS reflectometry, it is a new method of remote sensing. Just read this news, it is important. So new spider species have been identified in Western Ghats. So you need to remember their names. Okay. So the names are Mimetus spinatus and Mimetus parvulus. Remember these two names. Then in defense you have some order. India signs repeat order of American weapons, right? So assault rifles, you see, by India's Ministry of Defense. So they have placed an order of 73,000 such rifles, SIG 716 assault rifles. Then there are certain reports. Digital payments industry is very, very important. You see, this year RBI has asked number of questions from digital payments index, digital payments industry as well. So just remember that this industry is projected to double, okay, to 593 lakh crores in next 4 fiscals. Then awards and books, you can just go through them. Need not discuss these appointments and all, right? Just discuss the important day. So if you see, 28th August is celebrated as Bureau of Police Research and Development Foundation Day. Okay, Bureau of Police Research and Development Foundation Day under MHA. So this was about your news. This for 28th August. Now we need to discuss 29th and 30th August news only. So 29th August, I'll be discussing only the banking financial, whichever is important, whichever I feel is important to be discussed. The rest fact-based news, you can go through them. Okay. So, okay, I think this is something which we have discussed. Yes. So the initial news is same. We have discussed this thing, Agriculture Infrastructure Fund already. About the other news, you can see government receives this much crore from Indian Oil Corp as dividend. So the dividend received, nothing to be discussed here. Then All India Consumer Price Index for agricultural labor, it has registered an increase of 10 points. That's why it is in news. So remember, what is the base year for CPI RL? Base year for CPI RL is 1986-87. Okay, so it has registered an increase of 10 points. That's why it is in news. Then you have India's sovereign debt rating at BBB. Okay, stable outlook has been provided with Fitch ratings. Then there's a Singapore Alliance has received approval from the Government of India for FDI as a part of proposed merger of Vistara with Air India. So for that, Singapore has received the approval. So remember, there is a proposed merger of Vistara with the Air India Airlines, right? Then LIC has also handed over so much of dividend to government. You can just go through the figure. Then in regulatory body news, Editorial discussion we are going to start soon. Okay, don't worry about that. Jaldi karenge. So that's why, I'm trying to cover this current affairs so that we can bring it in line with the daily analysis. In that case, we will be able to discuss, we will have time, so we will be able to discuss the editorials also, and then we will be covering extensively the news daily, right? So here if you see regulatory body news, SEBI proposes overhaul of investment banking norms. Now this is important, right? This is important. So there are certain norms here. Your Securities and Exchange Board of India has proposed some investment banking regulations, and they have now proposed to have two categories of investment banks, okay, based on their net worth. There will be category 1 and category 2. Now this is a lot of facts. What you can do is, you can go through this table and remember these requirements. We can discuss that this category 1, what is the existing provision and what is the proposal. So for category 1 type of investment banks, the existing provision was minimum net worth should be 5 crore rupees. Okay. Now the proposal is to increase up to 50 crores. Okay. Then category 2 will be 10 crores. Okay. Category 2 will be 10 crores, and they shall be permitted to undertake all permitted activities except main board issues. So remember. Now what about the merchant bankers who are following the existing norms? So for them, existing whosoever are registered, they will be provided with a period of 2 years, to maintain this minimum net worth. Okay. So this will be applicable for the newly registered, and for the existing one, they will be provided with a time of 2 years for that. So on the basis of cancellation there was no provision earlier, but now if it fails to earn a revenue of at least 25 crore in 3 immediately preceding financial years, it will be cancelled, right? And category 2 mein, if it fails to earn a revenue of at least 5 crores, it will be cancelled. Then other criteria, you have minimum liquid net worth, no provision was there, but now merchant banker has to maintain liquid net worth of at least 25% of the minimum net worth. Okay, so it should be 25% in liquid. Then maximum underwriting threshold, so existing provisions say that it shall not exceed 20 times of the net worth, but now the underwriting threshold is prescribed at 7 times of the net worth or 20 times of liquid net worth. So these are the revised norms. You have to remember these things, right? Just go through all these norms as well. Then you have RBI NPCI launching UPI ICD. Okay, so you have the Deputy Governor of RBI, okay, T. Ravi Shankar, launching UPI interoperable cash deposit feature of the global fintech best. Now, under this, the customers will have the option of cardless cash deposits via UPI. This is something we have already discussed in many classes. I think it was there in the RBI annual report as well. So, cardless cash deposits you can have via UPI. So, you can deposit cash via UPI. Okay, basically, so cardless mechanism introduced for that. Okay, via UPI you can have cardless deposits. Now it is only available at ATMs and can be used to deposit and withdraw cash. So you can use UPI to deposit and withdraw cash. You already see ATMs providing these facilities, right? You can withdraw cash via UPI. So this is what the news is. You can also deposit then. Then in the series, you have SEBI proposing qualified stock brokers mandatorily offering a facility for trading in secondary market, UPI block. We have already discussed this thing, UPI block, right? And ASBA for the primary, I have told you. Then RBI approval for FACE as an self-regulatory organization, we have already discussed this thing. We have also seen this Bharat Pay, then we have seen Fitch ratings, now here is Moody's ratings. So Moody's ratings has raised India's GDP growth forecast to 7.2%, remember this thing. Jandhan we have discussed, UPI Circle we have discussed. This scheme I have explained you what is UPI Circle delegate and the full time and the full delegation and the partial delegation. We have also seen the limits under them, okay. Bharat Bill Pay we have discussed. So we have discussed majority of these news. You can go through these national and state news. 3 railway projects have been announced by cabinet, approved by cabinet. So first is Jamshedpur, Purulia. Then you see name of the project Jamshedpur, Purulia, Asansol, right? So it will be covering your Jharkhand and West Bengal. Then you have Sardega and Bhalumuda covering Odisha and Chhattisgarh. Then you have Bargarh Road and Navapara Road, new line, also covering Odisha. So remember these 3 projects. Then you have retired sports person empowerment training program, okay. So it is to support retired athletes, okay, in their career development. So retired athletes can use this opportunity to develop their career further in sports. She Box portal is already there. So it is to report the sexual harassment cases. So She Box basically refers to sexual harassment electronic box, and it is launched by your Women and Child Development Ministry. You can provide complaints over there, okay. You can go through these news, these are not to be discussed. This is something we have already discussed in the previous news, right? 12 new industrial smart cities are there. We have discussed majority of these news. Okay. Then in state news, you have something different. Andhra Pradesh has launched India's first indigenous monkeypox. Okay, so this is again we have discussed, not new. We have discussed already the MTech zone, right? MedTech zone. So this, has repetition of all these news. So I'm not going to discuss this. Let's take up the last news for today, which is 30th August. In 29 August, you have almost the repetition of the earlier news, which we have discussed for 28th August. So in 30th August, you have IRDAI securities credit rating. So it is regarding International Credit Rating Agency S&P and Global. So it has assigned BBB long term and A3 short term issuer credit rating to IRDAI. Okay, and the outlook has been capped in the category of stable. You also should remember the chairman and MD of IRDAI, Pradeep Kumar Das. Then the news is important. So the index of 8 core industries has increased by 6.1%. Okay. Now this is important. Remember, increased by 6.1%. 8 core industries, hold significance. They account for 40.27% weightage in the index of industrial production, IIP. And what exactly are the 8 core industries? So these are your cement, coal, crude, oil, electricity, fertilizers, natural gas, refinery products and steel. 40.27 weightage in IIP. So it has registered increase by 6.1%. Remember this. Then NSO has reported 6.7% real GDP growth, okay, for April-June quarter. Remember this. In the regulatory body new, you have private sector SFBs recording 20% growth. So private sector small banks. So according to RBI's deposits of scheduled commercial banks, including regional rural, they have grew, right? So the deposits are growing. Now this is in line with a issue which we have discussed in the FSR as well. Can you please point out the issue which they are referring to? Anyone? Anyone? So if you remember, the credit rate and deposit rate is a cause of concern for RBI. If you remember FSR classes, I have told you, we have discussed this thing. Rising credit rate is good, but then you have to have deposit rates rising as well. So rising deposits is a good sign in that case. You can connect this thing to the issue, right? We have discussed. Then also bank credit is growing. So credit is also growing, deposit is also growing. You should remember this. Non-food bank credit has registered a growth of 15.1%. So remember, particularly non-food, less deposits, more lending. Yes, very good, Shreya. So you remember, right? So it is in line. You can just go through these facts and substantiate your answers with those trends. And in bank credit growth, if you see, the non-food bank credit is registering the growth, right? 15.1% growth. Then if you see All India House Price Index, it has moderated to 3.3%. It is also RBI data. You just remember these figures. These are very, very important. Remember, these are very, very important, right? The data provided by RBI, they are really very important. Also, this transaction level data, it has received from the registration authorities. It has been there from 10 cities, which are Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Jaipur, Delhi, Kolkata, okay, and these. So then you have microfinance industry, AUM is also up 22%. So assets under management of your microfinance industries, they have also grew, remember. Then there is a revision of eligibility criteria by SEBI for entry exit of stocks in the F&O segment. If you remember, I have discussed in finance all these terminologies with you, right? Stock median quarter sigma order size, stocks market wide position limit. I think I have discussed this in FSR as well with you. Yes or no, right? Stocks average daily delivery value. We have discussed all these concepts in the FSR. Can you tell me? Do you remember? So I have told you these technical aspects. Now in all these existing criteria, they have been revised in the derivatives segment. So remember them, the revised limits. So for the median quarter sigma order size, can anyone please let me know whether you remember? You remember all these concepts? So first one, if you see, it tracks the liquidity, right? Liquidity part of it. So the median quarter sigma order size, it basically, for a stock, it tells you the amount which is needed to move a stock's price, okay. Then second one, if you see, if you remember, the market wide position limit, it basically limits the number of open FAO contracts, okay, that can be held for a particular stock. So it number of limits the number of open FAO contracts for a particular stock. Then you have average daily delivery, okay. So I have discussed all these concepts with. Are these IRDI phase 1? You see, yes, current affairs are of course relevant for IRDI 1, of course. I have told you again and again, they are comprehensive current affairs. They are not targeted for a single examination. They are created in such a way so as to cover the requirement and cater to the requirement of all your examinations, right? So basically the last one, if you see average daily delivery value, it is an indicator of your trading volume, right? So it gives you information about your trading volume over a specific period, if you see. So these criteria have been changed. I have discussed these in detail with you. I have also given reference once again. So existing is for median quarter sigma order size 25 lakhs, now it has to be at least 75 lakhs. This is important, I'm telling you, mark this important and remember these revised norms. So existing MWPL, market wide position limit, 500 crores and then 1500 crores, and then average daily delivery value 10 crores was there, now it has to be 35 crores. Now if you fail to meet these criteria for 3 months, you will exit the derivative segment, okay? In that case, no new contract can be issued on these stocks. So this is mandatory. Then banking news, this is not important. You can go through these news, right? So MasterCard has launched payment pass key service in India, okay, to make online shopping more secure basically. So this is a security kind of a feature, okay. These payment pass keys, they use device-based biometric authentication methods like fingerprints and all, facial scans. So it has also launched this thing in India, MasterCard. Then you have national and state news. You can go through these news. 56 executive committee meeting held. No need to discuss. Then you have PM Modi laying foundation stone of Vadhavan Port. Vadhavan Port, again very important and has been in news. We have recently discussed, and MOU has also been signed between Jawaharlal Nehru Port and REC, if you remember, right? So this is the thing. Then you have again a face authentication feature has been launched by Annapurna Devi. Okay, so Union Minister of Women and Child Development Annapurna Devi has launched pilot project of face authentication feature in nutrition tracker app. Okay. Then something launched by Instagram, not important. Then you have state news. Kerala government has launched Shopee. Now what is this? Or K-Shopee. Okay, so it is an online portal for selling products from public sector enterprises. So it has all your features from the modern e-commerce platforms, and it has been developed under the supervision of Board of Public Sector Transformation. So for this, the gateway which is used for transactions is Punjab National Bank, and India Post is the delivery partner. So remember, so now for public, so this is important, public sector enterprises are also there on the e-commerce platform, okay, and this is one of them. PNB, Punjab National Bank, is the gateway of the online transaction, and the delivery partner is India Post. India Post will be the delivery partner, okay. So you see they are also expanding their legs in the e-commerce industry. Then in the international news, you have agreement signed with the UNICEF by UAE for humanitarian efforts in Sudan. Then India, Sri Lanka, Mauritius, Maldives, they have signed a charter for establishment of Colombo Security Conclave Secretariat. Okay, so remember, where will it be? Of course, in Colombo, and this is important. Which countries are there? India, Maldives, Mauritius, and Sri Lanka. Okay. So Colombo Security Conclave. These are the countries, and what are the areas in which they want to cooperate? Maritime safety, terrorism, countering, combating trafficking and transnational organized crime, cyber security, humanitarian assistance, and disaster relief. Then you have MOUs, you can go through the MOUs and mergers. Then Science Tech में Indian Army has launched Naman. Yes, Naman. What is Naman? So Naman is basically it is centered around the implementation of SPERSH, digital pension system, right? So the first phase of Project Naman has been launched. It is to provide dedicated support and services to defense pensioners, right? So it is in line with the SPERSH, System for Pension Administration, Raksha, which is a digital pension system. You can remember that 14 centers have been established and all. Then you can go through the sports section, appointments and obituaries, persons in news. There is nothing to discuss about in this section. All right. So PDFs will be provided to you as they are provided so far. Now, these have been the news from 23rd to 30th August. I know we have not been able to discuss each and every news in detail, but see, I have told you that there is no need to discuss some kind of news, right? They do not require explanation. You just have to remember the facts. Whatever banking, ESI, finance, business news were there, which required a conceptual understanding and an explanation, I tried to give you. And I hope you have understood all these concepts. We want to streamline these current affairs on a daily basis, right? So we will try to cover up whatever is remaining and then come up with daily analysis. I'm also working, we will have editorial classes soon, right? So no need not worry about that. Anything else you want to ask me? Can ask me, otherwise I'll end the session here. All right then. Thank you so much for staying for so long. I know this session has been long, but still, if we want to cover up and then we want to have daily analysis, we have to do that, right? So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next class. All the very best. Have a great day. Just read these facts, try to revise them. Thank you so much. See you in the next class.